Today on Public Eye News, nearly $1 million will go towards Upper Peninsula infrastructure across 3 counties. And later, we'll have everything you need to know about the recent recall of frozen waffles that has consumers checking their freezers.
Soon, Luke Niddle will have your weather forecast for the next couple days. He'll also have your sports breakdown. I'm Toby Camilli.
And I'm Liam Eulenjoy. This is Public Eye News. Marquette, Iron, and Houghton are the latest of 3 counties to be awarded infrastructure grants as part of Governor Whitmer's Shared Streets and Spaces grant initiative. The Upper Peninsula investment makes up almost $1 million of the total $6.5 million grant. Of the 69 applications to the Michigan Department of Transportation program, 6 in the UP were chosen. To Houghton County, renovations will be made to Bridgeview Park in Houghton and to Elevation Street in Hancock. Apple Blossom Trail in Iron County will receive $400,000 for improvements that include the replacement of the boardwalk. And here in Marquette County, a downtown Negaunee project and K.I. Sawyer Transportation are also set to receive funds. And 2 state courts have blocked Republican-led efforts to invalidate certain votes cast overseas. The cases were targeted at individuals who never lived in the states in question, but had parents who were state citizens. The efforts took place in North Carolina and Michigan, with the latter case also targeting the spouses of military and overseas voters. The state Republican parties and the Republican National Convention were some of the plaintiffs in both cases. In North Carolina, a judge said the Republicans had failed to identify even a single case of fraud related to the voters they targeted. The Michigan judge commented that the language targeted by Republican efforts has been on the books since 2017 and should have been challenged sooner than 28 days before the general election.
NMU President Brock Tessman hosted an alumni and friends dinner on campus to learn more about NMU's new plans. The former CEO of Starbucks, Howard Schultz, was a part of that group. Schultz, an alum of NMU, graduated in 1975 with a degree in communications. Schultz held a fireside chat with students where he talked about topics like leadership and emotional intelligence. Schultz talked about how growing up in a family with no health insurance and who didn't have much money motivated him to build a company like Starbucks. During his talk, Schultz talked about his time at NMU and how it helped shape his values alongside Starbucks. Schultz has been a supporter in NMU student programs and initiatives in the past and even received an honorary degree in 1998 from the university. At the University of Michigan, a long-standing ban on firearms will remain in place after a legal hearing hit a dead end. Michigan Supreme Court declined to hear an appeal from a man arguing that the ban infringes on constitutional rights. The gun ban was originally imposed in 2001, but the policy faced scrutiny after the United States Supreme Court expanded gun rights in 2022. The court emphasized that universities are sensitive places responsible for public safety. With no further appeal, the university maintains its stance. Top American officials are on the ground in the Middle East this morning, working to end fighting on multiple fronts. The Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, is back in Israel working to resume ceasefire talks as a U.S. Special Envoy is in Lebanon. CBS's Jared Hill has the latest.
This morning near Lebanon's only international airport, planes taking off through thick smoke from Israel's latest round of strikes. Israel says it's targeting what it considers to be Hezbollah's de facto financial lifeline, Al-Qarad al-Hassan banks, also used by Lebanese civilians who trust them more than the country's other banks after a severe financial crisis hit 5 years ago. Hezbollah, for its part, hasn't let up, the fighting deepening Lebanon's humanitarian crisis.
This war is just creating more hatred, more violence. This is extremely dangerous.
U.S. Special Envoy Amos Hochstein in Beirut Monday.
The United States wants to end this conflict as soon as possible. That's what President Biden wants. That's what we all are working towards.
Further south, today, Secretary of State Antony Blinken returns to Israel for his 11th trip since the Hamas terror attacks sparked Israel's war in Gaza. Blinken gauging regional temperatures for a ceasefire hostage deal after the death of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar.
For many, many, many months now, Mr. Sinwar had been the major obstacle to getting to a yes. Of course, time has passed since then, and there need to be continuing conversations.
Both Israeli and Hamas officials say their positions have not changed.
Now don't touch that dial. We'll be right back with your weather and regional news after this break. Stay tuned.
We've been having a practice round every day and prepping for states.
I'm feeling ecstatic, bro.
I go into competition mode and I really lock in.
Mario has been MIA for about a month.
I'm defending human rights, I'm defending abortion, I'm defending the rights of immigrants.
I'm glad to be in his group, but we kind of butt heads.
I think we have what it takes to win this thing.
Tonight at 9 on WNMU TV.
Welcome back to Public Eye News. I'm your anchorman, Luke Niddle, and I'll be taking you through our weather forecast. Starting off with the campus cam behind me, as you can see, there's a couple of clouds in the sky, but overall, it's still a very lovely day here in Marquette. Taking a look towards the rest of the UP, it's going to be pretty sunny all around. Starting off up north in Houghton, it's going to be 74. Over in Ironwood, 72. Down in Iron Mountain, 70 degrees and partly cloudy skies. In south in Menominee, it's going to be 66. Moving over to the eastern side of our board, in Escanaba, it's going to be 63. Over in Manistee, 61. In the Sioux, 72 and cloudy skies. And back in our lovely Marquette, 69 and partly cloudy. Taking a closer look at those current conditions, winds north-northeast at 17 miles an hour, and our barometric pressure is 29.80 inches and falling. Looking towards tonight, same cloudy skies, a low of 62. Winds southwest at 14 miles an hour, and our moon phase is going to be waning gibbous. Tomorrow, we're going to have showers with a high of 48, a low of 36, and winds northwest at 17 miles an hour. Looking ahead towards the rest of our week, creeping into the weekend, Thursday, a high of 62 and a low of 45, some cloudy skies. Friday, high of 54, low of 39, same cloudy skies. Saturday, high of 51, sun's going to creep out a little more with a low of 37. That's all I have for weather. Back to the news desk.
Well, thank you for that weather update, Luke. Looks like we're in for some pleasant fall conditions, but now it's time for some more news, starting with this. Hundreds of frozen waffle products are being recalled nationwide. The manufacturer of the products, Treehouse Foods, says the voluntary recall is due to possible contamination by Listeria bacteria. Listeria infections can cause mild illness, including fever and diarrhea, or more serious health problems. They are most dangerous for pregnant women, newborns, adults over 65, and individuals with weakened immune systems. Treehouse said there are no confirmed reports of Listeria infections stemming from the waffles, which are sold under names like Great Value, Good and Gather, and other brands. Items are being taken off shelves in major retailers like Walmart and Target, and customers are advised to either dispose of them or return them for credit. And in-person early voting has begun in Wisconsin. It comes as over 305,000 absentee ballots have already been returned there. The battleground state will be critical to the presidential victory of either Vice President Kamala Harris or former President Donald Trump. Joe Biden won by a narrow margin of less than 21,000 votes in 2020, so both candidates are expecting an equally tight race this year. As a result, they are pushing hard for their supporters to take advantage of early voting. Democratic leaders like former President Barack Obama and vice presidential candidate Governor Tim Walz are hosting a rally in Madison. And many Republican officials or candidates in the state announced their plans to vote today as well. Early voting in the state will last until November 3rd. Also ongoing in the early voting season, a voter in Iowa was unlawfully asked to unseal an absentee ballot by a caller who claimed to be with a local political party. With more on the story, here's KCCI's Amanda Rooker.
It just seemed very strange.
Carolyn Langenwalter was driving home Sunday night when her phone kept ringing.
I'm calling on behalf of Wharton County Republican.
Someone left this voicemail.
I appreciate your help on this. We're trying to unravel a possible catastrophe.
And called again.
When I picked it up, she explained that she was with the Warren County Republican Party, and they had concerns that an absentee ballot, had incorrect information on it, and she had just before that called my mother, who's 91.
Langenwalter and her mother had filled out their absentee ballots Sunday morning. Langenwalter took them to drop them off at the post office.
When she called and said, well, we want to validate what's on the ballot, I said, well, I've already got it sealed. You know, it's in the front seat of my car, it's already sealed. And She went on to say, well, when you get home, could you open it and look at it and confirm if this candidate's name is on there and call me right back?
Langenwalter said no.
I said, I'm not going to open my mom's ballot. I'm not going to open my ballot. I think it could be illegal, or if nothing else, it could invalidate the ballot because it will look like it's tampered with.
The Republican Party of Iowa says this all started when a voter called the Warren County GOP, reporting a problem with their ballot. They said a candidate's name had been left off. The state party says a volunteer heard about the potential problem and started making calls to see if anyone else had noticed the same mistake. A spokesperson for the Republican Party of Iowa sent KCCI a statement, writing in part that, quote, every vote matters, and the state party, along with the Warren County GOP, wants to ensure every vote counts. One wrong ballot is one too many.
We'll be right back after this short break. Stay tuned.
On Finding Your Roots, actor Jane Lynch.
I'm learning more and more about what I've been imprinted with.
And comedian Jim Gaffigan.
There's something about resiliency.
Discrimination.
No Irish need apply. Unbelievable.
And hardships of immigration.
It's not this noble, romantic pioneer story.
Plus a DNA match.
You would never guess in a million years.
You're a DNA cousin.
Tuesday night at 8.
Welcome back to Public Eye Sports. Once again, I'm Luke Niddle, and I'll be taking you through our Tuesday breakdown. Leading off on the pitch, the Wildcats double-dipped in GLIAC Soccer Player of the Week awards as both Tommaso Lamy and Justina L'Esperance took home the hardware. For Lamy, a 2-goal performance against Davenport in his last regular season home game of his collegiate career gave him the nod. As for L'Esperance, a hat trick plus an assist over the weekend led to a 4-1 shellacking over Ferris State and marked a career high for her in both goals and points. L'Esperance now leads the GLIAC in total points, goals, assists, and points per game. All those marks are good for top 20 in Division II as well. Both the men's and women's teams will travel to Chicago next week to take on the Roosevelt Lakers to continue conference play. And moving over to the gridiron, it was a doubleheader yesterday on Monday Night Football, with Baltimore thumping the Buccaneers and the Cardinals eking out a win against the LA Chargers. For the Ravens, a barrage of passing that included 281 yards and 5 passing touchdowns, headlined by Lamar Jackson, carried the Ravens' flock to a 41-31 dub over the Bucs. That win also put Jackson at 23-1 over the NFC Conference, the best record by a QB over an opposing conference in NFL history. As for the other Bird team, the Cardinals clicked on the last drive of the game, leading to a game-winning field goal. Kyler Murray was the star of the show, rushing for a 44-yard touchdown in the fourth and commanding the offense downfield for the final points of the game. That primetime win puts Arizona second in the NFC West, while it sends Chargers to the third place in the AFC West. And ending it off with some stick and puck, the Detroit Red Wings hosted the New York Islanders tonight after a little bit of break from the action. The Wings hope to keep the momentum going from a 5-2 road win over the Nashville Predators Saturday night, whereas the Isles are in the same boat, riding the wave of a 4-3 shootout win over the Habs Saturday night as well. Detroit comes into this one 2-3, while New York sits at 2-1-2. The Wings are also coming into this one still finding their footing for goaltending, as Cam Talbot and Alex Lyon have played 3 total games in the fresh season, with Talbot posting a .907 save percentage compared to Lyon's .938. That's all I have for sports. Back to the news desk.
Thank you for that sports update, Luke. Sounds like the men's and women's soccer teams are really heating up in offense, Liam.
I agree. Good for Lamy and L'Esperance. They deserve those nods. It's been very fun hearing about their successes this year. But I hear you have another story for us today, Toby.
That's right. The Garland Zoo, located in Nobbinway, Michigan, is looking for pumpkin donations for their tigers ahead of Halloween. Pumpkins are an excellent way to stimulate a tiger's senses. The zoo will be open from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. tomorrow to receive donations.
Well, that's all the time we have today at Public Eye News. I'm Liam Eulenjoy.
And I'm Toby Camilli.
And we'll see you next time.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.